Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Chilluminati podcast, episode 169. As always, I'm one of your hosts, Mike Martin, joined by the Jack Lemmon and Walter Matthau of LA, Jesse and Alex.
100 and nice.
100. I'm not that witty. I'm not that quick on the ball. I can't think of it like that fast. So
you can't think of it that fast, but then let me tell you what you should be thinking about instead.
Oh my
Patreon.com.
God.
Wow, this guy walked right into it today.
Right
/
into
Chilluminati Pod is a great place that keeps this show going, and you can go there and you can support us with that website. Keeps the show coming out regularly, feeling great, and bonuses. That's the bonus. The bonuses are really the good thing. Ad-free episodes, a mini-sode every single time we do an episode, which today, I know you saw the frickin' AI art. I know you're out there wondering if we're going to talk about it. I'm going to talk about it in the mini-sode this week. Patreon.com/ChilluminatiPod. Monthly art, access to rotten popcorn. There's like 6 that aren't out or something. There's a lot that aren't out.
Yeah.
There's only 2 out for the public.
All of them incredible movies.
Really just top tier blockbuster hits. Just kidding. That's not true. That's not real. But that's not what that's not the point. They're all easily watchable, and we'll watch them with you. Basically, that's what the show is. So, and you can get those all early if you head over to Patreon.com/ChilluminatiPod. And you can go there.
Yeah.
You know where else you can go, Alex, is Chilluminatipod.com for live show tickets, everybody. We're also doing live show tickets. If you are a part of the Patreon, you got early access to ticket sales, actually, by a couple of days. So, if you want to come see us live in LA at the Terragram Ballroom on October 25th, please go to Chilluminatipod.com, get yourself some tickets, come grab some drinks, hang out with us, and we've got I can't wait for the opener of the show. It's going to be maybe my favorite opener we've ever done for any of our live shows, and I'll leave it at that. It was what we were supposed to do last live show, besides technical difficulties that prevented us from doing so. And it's going to be super fun.
And Alex, what else is going to happen?
So here's what else is going to happen. Everybody's going to follow the link on Amazon to buy some glow-in-the-dark teeth. And in the first minute of the show, Alex's big smile is going to happen with a bunch of smiling, sharp teeth. A sea of them all across the Terragram.
I feel like Alex is expecting this blinding light to return to us.
I don't know what he expects. No one can see it. No one's going to be able to see it because everyone's going to be in it. So the only one who's going to see it is him and us.
That's what it's for.
And I don't want to see
it. It's Alex's big smile. And you know what? I'm going to take a picture of it. So
great.
I'm excited for it. I'll take a picture of it too, and it'll just be nothing. We can't see anything because we have the lights beaming on us, and the only thing we'll be able to see are the spotlights on us. So,
we'll have to turn off all the lights, kill the lights, and only teeth.
Yeah, I'll take care of it all, and I'm definitely going to remember.
Again, Chilluminatipod.com to get your tickets. There's a few VIP tickets left and some general GA tickets to grab as well.
Things are not included, but they're very cheap and affordable on Amazon.
Yeah. Unless they have like a no fang mandate at Telegram, but I don't, we'll see if that ends up happening when we show
if that
up.
happens,
I mean, it's too late now. People have already bought them.
That's true.
I don't care.
All right.
This is it. This is where we are. This is the hill I'll die on.
Whoa. I don't even care.
I'll fight the venue if I have to get you guys those fangs.
Wow. It's very aggressive. I appreciate that you go to war for our fans like that, though. The Chilluminauts deserve such.
I would not.
Neither would I, but Alex will. So
Alex's big smile. And that's why it's Alex's big smile. Hashtag Alex's big smile.
I'm about to give you a Alex big smile today, gentlemen. For today's topic. I'm very excited because you don't know what it is. I didn't know what it was going to be for a little while. But I have put together something as we'll call it an apology. You, Jesse, last week came up with the insult, and I took great offense to telling me that I green-stoned you.
You green-stoned me, bro.
Wait a minute. What does it mean besides having a great time to be green-stoned?
So if me telling you that being told that I green-stoned somebody, it means that I built something up that didn't pay off the way one may have hoped.
Oh, is that right?
Green-stoned is the Chilluminati version of blue ball.
So it's like
it's the exact same thing.
It's like
exact same concept.
So it's like when you expect something to happen and it exceeds.
No, I don't think. I feel like that's not it.
You're waiting for something and you don't get it because what you get is even better.
I don't think so.
Well, I got to undo that damage. I have to undo that damage. So
Well, I mean, yeah. Oh, yeah. You
I
definitely
got
do.
to. So today's episode, boys, is some of my favorite, most bizarre, non-gray alien abduction stories.
Now this is what I'm here for. Okay. All right.
Including something I talked about well over a year, maybe 2 years ago. We're finally going to talk also about that man who paints his sexual encounters with the aliens that he has. And I'll show you those pictures. You can Google it, man. This man loves his aliens.
This is what I joined this entire podcast for right here.
So we're just gonna be like a grab bag of.
You just want spooky alien Florida man?
Yeah, no, kind of. Definitely some weird alien Florida man moments in today's episode. But we are going to first start with the last bit of the Coronado book that we used with a regression therapy. Not to do with the Coronado abduction specifically, but one of the abductees, Alice, the first person we spoke about, her brother had apparently abduction stories and scenarios happen to him as a child. And he went to go see Yvonne, who was the author of the Coronado book, and they had a regression session. And I just want to go through that session where you can see a different type of alien performing some sort of weird abductions. And once again, Alex, you're going to need to reprise your role as Yvonne. And Jesse, you're a young man in his late teens, early 20s right now, okay? And this is in 1992 specifically. So, 19, 20-year-old in 1992. And we're going to open up with this one regression, and I promise they're just, the situations will only get weirder as we continue on.
She has the energy. She has the energy of well, she's like a 90s ufologist. That's Yvonne, right?
Yes. And she's still active today. And she was actually on a couple of years ago, one of those Travel Channel experiences, one of those Travel Channel shows where somebody was like going around trying to find evidence of a particular alien abduction. And they went to Yvonne as like a regression specialist.
Oh, wow.
So she's still around. She's still around and doing work today.
I don't know why I'm giving her the energy of Pierce Brosnan in Mars Attacks, but that's just what it is.
To set the scene, this is again the boy's name is Jack. He's had been suffering for years from nightmares and panic attacks, insomnia, just impossible to find it time to relax, and has weird memories of like blacking out and having missing time. And Jack, when he came for his initial regression, this is what he put forward as like why he came. He said the most recent experience was probably about 9 months ago. Again, this is 1993, and he's like 20, maybe a little longer. I was having anxiety attacks, waiting for something to happen. I felt something was going to happen. I couldn't sleep at night, mostly between midnight and 3 a.m. I started meditating at night, and I just said, I want answers, and I want to know what's going to happen, and I'm tired of all the waiting. I wanted to know why me. And then he moves on to like, why is he'd seen a lot of images of his images, including his wife, inside crystals, and faces and things coming out of crystals. He started having weird fascination with crystals and started like having images, almost like I kind of like imagine it like a Jim Henson kind of gig where he picks up a crystal and he's just kind of staring into it. He starts seeing things. He also continues to say that he had a lot of interesting things happen to him with the crystals, like premonition and an ability to sense if there's going to be an earthquake a day or two before it happens. And he says he had a girlfriend where he was having a lot of anxiety and waiting for something to happen, and she got into a fatal car accident. He believes that this bad feeling that he had was leading to him kind of understanding ahead of time that she was going to die in a car accident, which is crazy. And there's another time that he said he bought a crystal, and when he held it, he saw a vision of himself getting into a car accident with his blue brand new Mustang convertible. He saw what must have been another Mustang because it was white and it was spinning uncontrollably. And then that actually happened. Even then, somehow, he wasn't too worried because he said he saw it before, so maybe that made him less worried about the accident as it was happening. And after that,
Did he
said...
write it down before?
He didn't write it down. He just kind of kept it in his mind. Sure. It is what it is.
Sure.
And after that moment, he got even further into crystals and his weird ability to see things. So that's this Jack person, Jesse. So that's a little flavor of who Jack is at this point in 1993. And we're going to go through his regression, the weird, wrinkly aliens that he ends up encountering. And we'll move on from there. So first and foremost, your first bit to read, gentlemen. Hey, thanks to MeUndies for sponsoring this episode, and just gonna be honest, like 1,000% honest, and just kind of ignore the bullet points that, all people send. MeUndies might be the softest, most comfortable freaking underwear I've ever worn in my entire life. And listen to me, I know it sounds kind of crazy. Jesse has been working with them for a long time over on his other podcast. So when he told me, listen, dude, you're about to get the most comfortable underwear of your life, I was a little bit hesitant. I've had some really nice undies before, but he wasn't wrong. Not only is it like super soft and comfy, but the most important part is they're breathable. A lot of like those really soft undies, just like, I don't know, they make you sweaty down there. It happens. But with MeUndies, it's like soft, comfy, and breathable. It's truly legendary underwear that's taken over the podcasting world by storm. I think you've probably noticed at this point. You guys need to get to know the underwear brand on every other podcaster's body. There's so much more than just undies, dude. And if you didn't know, well, now you know that MeUndies is known for their super soft undies and comfy bralettes, but did you know they make other stuff too? We're talking durable, cushy socks that'll make your feet sing. We're talking super stretchy loungewear. We're talking daily tees, shorts, rompers, you name it. They got all kinds of stuff that is so comfy for you. Available in sizes all the way from extra small to 4XL and a ton of colors and prints. MeUndies is your destination for all things soft and sustainable. MeUndies has a great offer for our listeners as well. For any first-time purchasers, you're gonna get 20% off plus free shipping and returns. That's right, first-time purchasers, you're gonna get 20% off and free shipping and returns. To get that 20% off your first order, free shipping, and 100% satisfaction guarantee, all you gotta do is go to MeUndies.com/chill. That's literally it, MeUndies.com/chill. Thank you, MeUndies, for sponsoring this episode and keeping my nuts super comfortable.
Allow yourself to take a trip back to November 16th, 1992. It's very late. Just feel yourself in your bed as you prepare for a night's sleep. Using all of your senses, just describe everything that happens.
We're just laying down, turn off the TV, trying to sleep. I turn toward Melanie, just trying to sleep.
Is Melanie asleep?
She's asleep now. I'm nervous. The room feels funny, feels like there's something there, but I can't see anything. I hear like a noise, like a hum. Oh, there's someone next to me.
Using all of your senses, everything is sharp and clear. Describe what is next to you.
It looks like a large head. Horrible, like a skeleton walking around the bed.
Is it Sarah Jessica Parker? Is she on her own dog's body?
Bro, are you talking about Mars Attacks, the incredible movie that is actually very scary for children?
You mean the Bible of aliens? No, I'm just...
I have not seen Mars Attacks. I probably should.
Mathis!
He has a very dark eye. Oh my God. Just don't.
I know what they
on.
look like, and I know they make like a eep, eep, eep kind of like noise.
They go...
That's what it was. Yeah.
He has very dark eyes, which seem to go around the side of his head. He's a small brown being, real wrinkly skin.
Ew.
Oh, he's touching me with something between my eyes.
Ew. Wrinkly.
I know.
Okay.
It's E.T. It's E.T., right?
like-
Yeah, it's E.T.
Okay. Take a good look and describe what he's touching you with.
It's like a black rod.
Okay. Get in touch with how your body feels. How do you feel when he touches you with the rod?
I love that line. I'm sorry. I'm 10 years old. I don't know what
So
to
this
tell you.
brown wrinkly alien touches you between the eyes with his big black rod?
Yes. Oh, pressure. A lot of pressure. Looking into his black eyes, he's just staring at me deeply. I hear the commotion in the room.
This isn't how I read it when I read the book, and I'm afraid I will never not be able to read it like this now.
You started this.
I'm sorry.
You made this happen.
This is not the man who has sex with aliens, okay? It's not him.
Describe the commotion.
You started this.
Describe the commotion.
There are beings moving around. I can't see them, but I feel there are three.
Just take a look around you and describe what's happening. What are these beings doing?
They're going over to Melanie. Oh, they're removing the covers. She's floating. She's floating above the bed.
Is someone touching her?
No, I can't see anything. Just his eyes. I feel paralyzed, kind of like a trance. I'm in a different room.
Can you describe your surroundings?
It's kind of shiny, circular, grayish. Lines on the walls, bright overhead. Some sort of machinery, some sort of controls.
That boy, the quiet boy who's in my class. He's there next to me, the sparkly one. Where do you see the machinery?
Past my feel, I'm lying down.
Do you sense anyone with you?
The brown being and other little beings, smaller. He's putting something over my head, like a crown or something with lights on it.
What part of your head? Which head?
Just over the top part, like fingers holding on my temple and the top of my nose between my eyes. Ooh, feel pressure between my eyes across my forehead.
Okay. Get a sense of what else is happening around you.
There's a lot of movement in the room. Others walking around, very busily walking around. Oh, I'm looking into his eyes. He's familiar. Feels like my arms are being restrained.
What part of your arms? That's like not a sexy question.
Feels like below my elbow and above my wrist. I can't move. Ooh, I see something above the table.
He pauses, looking above him.
Metal rods coming from the foot of the table from a machine. Ooh, a lot of pressure between my eyes. He keeps saying ooh a lot.
I know.
I don't like that.
Followed by the exact same line.
Now, get in touch with how the rest of your body feels. Is anything or anyone touching any other part of your body?
The little beings seem to be touching my leg. My left leg, bending it, moving it. They're turning me on my side.
What's happening when they turn you over?
Oh, I'm looking at the brown alien's eyes. I feel very tranquilized. Feel very light. They seem to be doing something with one of the machines.
Okay. Just describe what's happening. What are you feeling?
Oh, there's pressure. Feels like they're probing me. Not painful, just lots of pressure.
I just want everybody to be aware the oohs are part of every answer.
what it
It's
says.
literally not just
really,
an improv.
it's really
oohs.
there. Yeah. It's not a joke. Yeah. Nothing about this is funny.
Nothing.
Zero.
I think they're removing it now. Ooh, it looks so strange. Real strange even.
Describe what it looks like.
Like a long, not a wire, but like a rod. Balls on the end. And looks like it opens and closes.
Now that should sound familiar because that's something that's what happened to Mike Evans. He had that weird, the Greys had that weird metal rod with that weird like
That's
cagey
true.
thing at the end that pierced his ear.
He
and
said-
somebody said, clarification, if the ear is punctured and heals, it may not ever fully heal, like fully closed. So
Yeah.
if he had that wound from 1994 and he never properly got it taken care of, it would have remained like a hole in his ear. Just some fun clarification from some of our viewers out
Did
there.
who was it Mike that got scooped or was it Lucy? What was her name?
Mike got
Alice's-
scooped. Mike was the dude who got scooped.
Lacey?
Mike got the ear. Lacey had the thing in her shin.
And the one, but the device that was like a scoop.
Well, you're talking. Yeah, well, they got a device that went into Mike's ear, and then they pulled out that weird white circle though out of Lacey's
Yeah,
shin,
the like
which
little
was
calcium, not
yeah,
calcium
that wasn't
thing.
Mike. That was Lacey. But that's either way. Anyway, sorry to pull away from the thing. It's just important to know it's like another familiar tool, but being used by wrinkly brown aliens instead.
Okay.
It opens and closes.
All right, now I'm going to ask you something very serious. Do you feel that inside of you?
Yeah. Nervous. Ooh, I want to go home.
Now, remember, Jack, you did go home, but now you are just exploring. You are safe now. Verbalize everything. You're doing just fine.
Looks like there's some different machine. They're sticking something up my nose.
What position are you in?
I'm on my back now.
Now, describe what they're putting up your nose. Just get in touch with how your body feels.
It looks like a cable or wire from something. It's coming from a machine. Arms, it's above me. One of the smaller aliens is working it. The others standing around me.
Which side of your nose?
My right. Between my eyes, kind of high up. Behind the eye, but more towards the center.
This dude was just getting a COVID test.
Yeah.
The aliens were just testing him for COVID-19. Do you sense Melanie? Is she in the room with you?
I don't see her. I feel her, but she's not in the room.
Okay. Now get in touch with your body and your surroundings and tell me what is happening.
Feels like the table's kind of straightening, or I'm straightening up. Where I'm no longer horizontal.
Uh-oh. Okay. Now from that position, just take a look around the room and describe everything that's happening.
They're over by the wall with all the controls, about 8 feet across. It looks like it goes all the way up the top of the ceiling. I see screens, but I don't know what I see on them. Looks like a lot of lights, strange colors and symbols.
Just focus on those symbols, and as you focus on them, they will become clearer. Just describe what they look like and describe them.
Almost hieroglyphics and just shapes and beats. They're hard to see. Some of them are facing different angles. Some look like an X-ray, but different. It looks three-dimensional and can't explain. Looks like it's some internal organ or something. I don't know.
It's almost like a hologram style description if it's 3D.
An internal organ, though, like the shape.
Have you seen the next section?
I mean, I've read all of this, so yes.
It's weird.
I didn't.
You pick up on a vibe. You follow it, and it takes
Jesse
you right.
has
go with it.
a
Just roll with
natural
it.
ability to just taste the water before even drinking it.
Yeah. Now, once again, using all of your senses, getting in touch with your body, tell me what's happening. Just describe.
Ooh, feel like they're touching my groin.
Who is touching your groin?
The small aliens? I don't see the brown one anymore. They're like alongside of me. There's some machine or something being slipped over. Oh, it looks like a spoon type shape without the handle, with a big tube coming from it, the back of it.
Yo, so look, there's the scoop again.
There it is again. There's the jerk off machine with the tube that just gets that seed right from the source.
Do you feel any pain or discomfort?
Discomfort? Feels like something's being inserted. Feels uncomfortable, like it's just stuck in there.
Ooh.
Maybe sucking something out or doing something. Feels like I have to go to the bathroom.
Just take a deep breath now. You're doing just fine, Jack. You're getting through this. Exploring now. Continue describing what's happening.
They're taking it off. It's going back into the machine. The arms of the machine, kind of like an octopus. Lots of arms with things hanging from them. Feels like I'm lying flat again. Feels like I'm back in my bed. I see the brown one looking into my eyes now. I no longer have that thing on my head, just staring into my eyes. It's like he's trying to make me forget.
How do you feel when you stare into his eyes?
A lot of things. Kind of paralyzed. Also, kind of that he's communicating with me.
And what is that communication?
Not to worry, it'll all be over soon. Just like, you'll be okay. And it just seems familiar. His eyes.
So, you feel like you know him?
I feel like I've seen him many times. Keep thinking when I was little, maybe that's where I remember when I was 3, or I assume there's more.
It's already there. You click away.
4. Remember being like in like a playpen. I remember him looking down at me. Others too. The smaller and gray ones. I keep getting flashes. Melanie is coming back now. She's floating over the bed. She's kind of floating down into the bed now.
Is Melanie asleep?
She's not moving. I think she's asleep. I'm starting to yell, trying to break free from his eyes. He's touching me between the eyes again with the black rod. I'm falling back on Melanie. She seems to come to, and I'm shaking, cold, sweaty, scared.
And that's where the regression sort of ends at that point. Kind of can't get further in details. And again, what's this one, beyond the weird sexual undertones that Jesse kind of picked up on well before we even got to that point.
I know we enhanced them a little, but I want to be honest, like they're there in this text, like for sure.
I mean, the goof became reality by the end where he's like, they're putting stuff in my dick, dude. Like, I mean,
it's sucking my own dick, dude.
My God.
This machine's straight up sucking my dick.
But beyond the fact of the inclusion of a wrinkly brown alien that sounds like was accompanied by your typical smaller grays, another very typical gray experience, that smooth ship, weird machinery, something slapped onto his groin, milked for what he's got and sent back home with a slap on the ass and a stamp. And that's it. Like
Except
nothing
for Brown K. Wrinkleman.
Yeah, it's like not
Who
too
knows
much.
Who the hell that is?
But that's like, along the lines of what else is kind of provided in Coronado. However, Mike Evans, the man who had the thing put in his ear, we talked a little bit about some of the experiences he had as childhood. And in those experiences, he does talk about a mantis-shaped looking alien that was always out of like complete sight, more of a silhouette, seemed to be in charge of them. And when you go looking for these mantis-type aliens, it's very hard to come by a lot of scenarios involving them, but there are a few, including Mike Evans. But I want to give you exactly what they believe Mantis aliens are to be. We'll call this an addendum to the alien mythology that we laid bare in episode 1.
Somebody like on Reddit or something the other day, or in a YouTube comment, maybe you showed it to me, I can't remember. Somebody was like, Mathis, if you want to talk about aliens, you never have to give us an excuse. You can just you don't have to come up with a contrived, long-winded reason to talk about them. You can just do it anytime.
No, I got to come up with a reason. I need a reason to talk about these things.
You're among friends here. We just like you already.
Oh, thank God! Thank God! I'm finally accepted.
Don't go that. I want to go that far.
I can't speak for Jesse, but that's kind of his thing.
As far as like what we know about the Mantis aliens is it's hodgepodge together from a few different encounters, because again, the Mantis aliens are not common. They're not one of the reptilians or the grays or the tall whites or the Nordics who'd show up a lot.
I think they're just ugly, honestly.
They're ugly, and they
don't want people to see them,
Yeah, which we'll actually talk about in a little bit.
You think that they're like worried about that? They're like, look, bro.
Yeah.
You look bad.
Like
Send in the grace.
If you're like looking at a fucking Zorak ass mantis man, and you're looking at a little gray man who probably smokes weed, which one are you going to go send to talk to Melanie, right?
Yeah, fair. I would send the gray, obviously.
Yeah.
But I think it's only because we accept. That's like a chicken egg situation.
Sure.
We accept grays better because we've seen more portrayals of grays.
Because they're the general shape of humans, and they have machines that suck your dick.
But like,
yeah.
Well, all right, that's a selling point.
That's what I'm talking about.
I hate. You know what, Mathis? I don't like that for you. I don't like that you like eyebrow raised at us and like no one can see this.
He wants the machine for real. Yeah.
I'll take it, dude. That'll be I would love that experience.
I want to tell you something. These things do exist on Earth in real life.
Yeah, but I don't want those. I want the alien ones where they're trying to breed a star child with my DNA.
It's the taboo nature of the
exactly.
alien.
I might have a child out there in space who never knows his daddy.
They need like the bad dragon. They need the bad dragon, but for Mathis.
I'm gonna okay, we gotta move on. All right, so the praying mantises, in most abduction scenarios where they show up, they are more likely than not like an ominous looming being that's never really directly interacting with the person being abducted and more overwatching the events taking place. And a lot of the times they are with grays or other things. Another weird, maybe the grays are subservient or working amongst many different species.
To a lot of different species?
Mostly the grays.
They might be a product, bro.
Or
like, they could be
by themselves.
They could be an android. You know what I mean? They could be the what do you call them? The Nexus 6.
So
don't worry about that. That's from a movie.
Yeah, okay. I was say I don't know that reference. So they are seen with the grays. They are seen on their own, and they are seen with another hybrid alien that we did not speak about and are very little known as, and this is it's going to sound rough, the tall blacks instead of the tall whites. The tall blacks are multi-jointed, like they have multiple joints along their arms. They're like 9 feet tall.
As long as they're not less than the other aliens.
No, they're considered another like potential human hybrid species that were created by the insectoids specifically instead of another. And but there's very little known on them because the only time that they've been seen have been in conjunction with a mantis abduction scenario. And those, again, those are rare as it is. So who are these supposed mantis beings, these insectoid-like creatures? And the answer is, well, we don't fully know. We do believe those who have been abducted, they come from the Draco system, and they work hand in hand with the reptilians. And they are maybe both trying to take over Earth. These insect beings appear within supposed mythologies throughout the world, but whether that's actually able to be proven,
I find it hilarious that the insects would work with the lizards when on Earth they're mortal enemies.
Yeah, I agree. So what do these guys look like? So by far the most striking aspect for Mantis aliens is the
mantisness.
Exactly how they look. The carnivorous bipedal insect of its namesake.
Am I picturing just literally a giant praying mantis, or is that just like
pretty dead on? Like it's a little different looking, but they I'll send over an image when we get to that point. But they just look like mantises with like really long necks that then lead up to like a mantis-like head. It's bizarre.
Zorak?
I'm sorry, who?
Yeah, like Zorak, yeah.
It's literally just Zorak?
Yeah.
Who's Zorak?
Is that what this is?
He's from Space Ghost Coast to Coast. It was a television
Oh,
show.
I used to see that a little bit as a kid, not too much.
I used to see that.
Exactly like Zorak.
Yeah.
Yes, 1000% Zorak.
He's the like evil
you
villain guy
refreshed
who's
it.
his
Yeah.
Ed. He's like his hey now.
Yeah, his like
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Yes. So yes, that's a great one. That's exactly it. They're reported to be 6 to 7 feet tall with long, thin torsos. Their necks, arms, and hands have additional joints. Their heads are insect-like and triangular with large, slanted eyes of deep brown to black. And most mantids, as people kind of call them, are described as dark brown with other colors such as green and black that have also been encountered. And their bodies are composed of segmented exoskeletons. And some abductees have reported that the mantis seem to be coated in a weird, oily substance.
Ew.
They're often encountered wearing long robes in variety of colors, perhaps signifying rank or some sort of like government, perhaps. We don't know. So yeah, they're seen in like long robes a lot of the time, as opposed to the Greys who have those skin tight suits that are always on them.
But why would mantis people wear robes?
That's a phenomenal question, Jesse. There's a lot of, out of all the questions that need to be asked, that is the most pressing one.
Look, everything else I can understand, but robes make no sense if your whole thing is like, you have to move. You're a mantis man or lady.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, maybe it's just what we perceive them to be wearing. Maybe it's like their way of hiding their body from us.
It does wild me out that there is a like Earth reference for like every
I know.
single thing that there is. You're like, they wear robes. They look like praying mantises pretty much exactly.
Yeah.
And they're on all the rest of them are shaped like people. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird. It is weird that we have all of these, but it also could be that maybe, I don't want to go down that road right now. We're not going to talk about maybe that they're just evolved forms of praying mantises on Earth. You know what I mean?
From another dimension, right? Like
another dimension, another time.
Instead of monkeys, it was mantises, right?
Yeah, exactly. You never know.
Or like Splatoon, where it was squids instead of monkeys. you know?
And now you're a squid kid.
Have you seen that show? Life After People or whatever. I think it was Life After People. I can't remember. It was like,
that fake
it was like
documentary
eventually, it's like eventually there's going to be squids that are like on land and they like swing through the trees.
That'd be, maybe that's what happens is in this mantis world, their prime enemy are octopi.
When they find ink guns, it's over.
It's over. Yeah, they start inking all over the place.
Are there the stylish greens? Is that a type of alien? The stylish,
I'm sorry, what?
The stylish greens?
No stylish greens, unfortunately.
Splatoon 3 available
0.
September 9th. Check it
Soon.
out. hashtag ad for Nintendo. Hashtag.
Continuing with the mantids, the way they communicate with humans is like most other alien species. It's telepathic messages and kind of just
by attaching something to their penis and sucking out their cum.
However, abductees have witnessed them engaging one another with their own auditory language, and it sounds like a series of clicks and hissed noises between the creatures. Like as you would imagine a large insect might sound in a sci-fi movie, and maybe even has sounded in a sci-fi movie in the past. As far as why we may not have seen them as often, it's because, well, maybe they have the ability to shapeshift. there is this common belief that the insectoid aliens may either have shape-shifting abilities or the ability to control your mind and what you see and make them look like not what they actually are. Some alien theorists actually believe that the transformation from human shape to praying mantis is strictly an illusion and more of a mind control skill to keep one calm. The insectoid aliens might project like a less intimidating form forward to stave off any panic before revealing their true praying mantis form after that they have the human or the abductee in their possession. Their ships as well have a bit of a different description than your typical gray ships, which are, your smooth metallic interiors. The mantid ships seem to be kind of rigid and almost have again like an ooze or an oil that seems to be slick all of the walls, much like people have seen the mantids themselves being covered in some sort of oozy
like they
liquid.
Need moisture.
It might be like a moisture thing. It might be that like it's like a hive type thing. The fact that they keep themselves in a weird like oily state, I think Alex, I think a lot of people kind of look at it like that, like it's a necessary need for their own habitat or moisture.
Here's the thing, I do that too. The same way.
You're doing that right now. You're consistently sweaty, and always glistening in the California heat,
keeping me nice and slick.
We actually have an encounter of one of these that's taken way back from the Taipei Times in 2012. I'm actually going to give you the article link itself, along with the photo of the thing that was seen that may be a mantis alien. While I read this quick encounter, here's the link, gentlemen. Again, this is the Taipei Times from December 27th, 2012. A local UFO association has released a photograph taken at a high mountain lake, which it says shows the image of a, quote, alien being. But skeptics say it may be a digitally edited or multiple exposure photo. The Taiwan Ufology Society, TUFOS, announced on Saturday that a photograph taken by a policeman at Jiaming Lake, located at an altitude of about 3,300 meters on the southern section of the Central Mountains in Taitung County, shows what appears to be a large alien creature with a transparent body and webbed hands walking in the distance. It also has that kind of like weird bulbous head that I think might be why they say it could be a mantid, because if you were to take this weird silhouetted picture, maybe that's what you would call it. Now, boys, what do you see looking at this picture?
Well, okay,
how would you describe what you're seeing right now?
Looking at the zoomed in pic, we got like, those things that you squeeze and they like stick out their tongue and their ears shoot out and their eyes pop out?
Yeah.
That's like kind of what the head's got going on. And then it's got like Jar Jar Binks vibes going down to the bottom, but there's like a big trunk on the body before you get from the head to the body, and then towards the bottom it's like long arms, long legs, Jar Jar Binks walking in the picture of it zoomed in. Okay,
right.
So you see that, I see like silver cowboy.
Yeah, that's also like there's definitely like
that,
maybe it's just that outline of a distorted person who's wearing a cowboy hat,
like a dude in a full body silver suit with a cowboy hat on, but the silver suit has instead of like gloves, like little like wizard frills at the bottom.
Yeah. However,
I mean, he's kind of like a rocker. He's like a 70s glam rocker.
I feel it. He's like a rhinestone cowboy. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sending you an image of what the mantid supposedly look like up close wearing the robes, by the way. There's an artistic representation of it.
So that's pretty.
Of course.
Yeah.
Like I said, you're pretty dead on explaining exactly what it looks like. Like that's
if the robe is silver.
Yeah.
All right.
I will say this, however, which is that when you go down to the actual photo, there is no way that there is enough atmospheric occlusion on that figure at all. And the depth of field and like sharpness of the figure is just totally incorrect.
Are you okay, yeah. You're talking about this photo here.
For the distance, especially for a fucking picture that was taken on an iPhone 4.
Yeah, so I was gonna say, like, this picture, just so you're aware, taken with an iPhone 4. And the big thing that kind of throws the picture into doubt is these supposed, like, what you call, like, I guess, double line or double exposure lines at the bottom of the photo. And as experts went through it, there's debate whether those lines are caused from like a memory cache thing or if it actually is double exposed. We'll never know. But that's the closest actual photo that exists of a supposed mantid, if that's even what we're looking at in the first place. To give you an idea of how hard it is to even come across
I can see why people would say this was faked.
If this was
taken,
if this was taken on a camera with a lens, I would be like, this is absolutely fake. There's no doubt in my mind. If this was taken on like a DSLR or something like that, no way. However, the fact that it's an iPhone, the way that it processes images, there's a lot of things that it could be. I've taken pictures with my iPhone that look weird, of especially landscapes, which is what iPhones are. Just the very opposite of what an iPhone is made for, is taking a giant landscape photo.
But the problem with the photo, though, is that the landscape itself is fine. But if you were to use math to math out the distance from where the photo was shot to the mountains in the background to the guy walking across,
he looks 80 feet tall.
That dude would be a giant.
Yeah.
He would be massive.
He looks pretty tall. But that's the thing. He could be tall for sure.
But that is 12 feet tall.
Yeah, but I mean, that's probably taller than 12 feet tall. But that's what I'm saying. Like, maybe this thing is that tall.
Sure, but it is just visible enough that if you close up, you can see some things. I don't know. It seems pretty faked.
Besides the perspective, which I'll give to the fact that it's a giant mantis in robes of silver.
Yeah, sure.
The thing that's just wrong with it for me is there's like, just looking at it with a naked eye on my 27-inch monitor from a foot away, I can see that there's not enough occlusion on that.
Yeah.
And like the depth of field is completely wrong. It's just like way too sharp compared to, like, just look at the horizon line. Like, look at where the landscape ends and how fuzzy that line is. Yep. And compare that to just how fucking sharp you can see the figure. You can see his two legs. That's crazy. No way.
Yeah. It's a very weird, and clearly there's something wrong with the photo, as Alex was kind of pointing out.
Yeah. I would buy that that's an iPhone problem, though. Like, that's the other thing. It doesn't look necessarily like somebody photoshopped this.
Listen, if you're new to listening to us, or you've been listening to us for a while, then I feel like I know you. A little bit on a personal level. You like all the weird stuff, like we do. Well, if that's true, which I kind of hope it is if you're listening to us, then I've got another show suggestion for you. We've been partnered with Audio Boom Studios for a while now, and they have a podcast coming out with Cheryl Hull and Nikki Druce. These two are on a nonstop tour of the weirdest stuff in our universe. You can listen to them talking about crazy true crime cases in history, weird spooky paranormal activities, and all the bonkers mythology over on the internet, and obviously some convincing cults. You just gotta trust me, it's a wild ride. The show is hosted by spooky expert Nikki Druce and RuPaul's Drag Race alumni Cheryl Hull. Nikki will be taking Cheryl on a journey to the strangest corners of the world, most notorious true crime cases in history, as well as looking at some famous and not so famous hauntings all out there in the world, online mythology, creepypastas, you name it. They're covering it, and their podcast is out right now. New episodes are released every week on Thursday. All you need to do is be searching for the show Killers, Cults, and Queens to follow and never miss an episode. It's out right now, and a new episode every Thursday. That's Killers, Cults, and Queens with Nikki and Cheryl. It's such a fun show, guys. I promise it's on my regular rotation. I just love this kind of stuff, and I can never get enough of it. From stories like the pizza bomber plot to Slender Man stabbings, all the way to Area 51 and stories of the Twilight Killers, these ladies cover it all. That's Killers, Cults, and Queens over on your favorite podcasting app. And you can follow them over on Instagram.com/CherylHullQueen or Instagram.com/MacaberLondonPodcast, or you can just go to Instagram.com/Killers, Cults, and Queens. And thanks again to Killers, Cults, and Queens for letting me in on how freaking cool your show is. I agree with you, though I will also go forward saying I am not an expert and might not be able to tell very easily as opposed to some others out
I've
there.
done some pretty high-level graphic design work for some pretty high-level brands. I'm not an expert. I don't usually do the brunt of the Photoshop work, or whatever. But it, to me, just naked eye, somebody who does a lot of image processing and stuff,
Yep.
That looks a little suspect.
The Mantids themselves, when it comes to what their motivations might be on Earth, most believe that it's some sort of nefarious purpose, like working themselves into our government or taking over the Earth themselves. They believe that many abduction scenarios with these guys are centered around the use of holographic projections as also a means of trying to educate, apparently. So abductees often report mantids being showing them holographic images of the destruction of planet Earth to illustrate the possible negative impact that our species could have upon the planet. But that also could be them trying to like kind of make us seem like they're the ones that could like rescue us. They're the only answer that could stop us so we could become subservient to them. A common abduction scenario regarding mantises, much like others, is that mantids are often accompanied by small gray aliens who seem to do their bidding. These small grays are assumed to be drones for them, controlled by a hive mind or utilized by a variety of alien races, which is what we're seeing, that these grays may not be acting on their own. They're just maybe they're just bought. Maybe they're like a space like,
super good Roombas. Yeah, real good.
Yeah, they're
Roombas.
like amazing Roombas that you can just buy in bulk and send them out to do the bulk of your work.
These fucking mantis guys in their robes, they have like their fucking iPhone and they're like, no, fucking scoop it. What are you doing?
Some believe, however, that when they return from their experiences with the mantids, they have like a much darker point of view, stating that the mantids wish to conquer and control Earth rather than aid in human ascension. Some believe that mantid hybridization program is actually currently taking place using human DNA to create a new species. So much like the Greys and others, we got these mixed scenarios where some mantids seem to be trying to give us, like any other alien species, a heads up. Stop acting like this. Your planet's going to be destroyed. You're going to destroy yourselves, this, that, and the other. And then others are like, no, they scooped me for eggs. And there's like, I think they're trying to take over the Earth, this, that, and the other. And it's those that believe that there's another hybridization program are the ones that I ran into what they call the tall blacks. Experiencers describe these beings as incredibly tall and more humanoid than insectoid, with black skin, extremely long limbs, all with extra joints across their appendages. And these abduction scenarios are very similar to those involving the mantid aliens and seem to evolve around the medical experiments being done. The most chilling feature of the tall blacks by many abductees has said they have a glowing red eyes. So they're just like a piercing, a glowing red. But that's the only time this other species has been seen. It's in conjunction with the mantids. And that's kind of like what we know of mantids at this point, if they're even a thing to begin with. But it does nicely lead into the man who fucks aliens and paints pictures about them. A man who is 74, maybe 75-year-old. Oh no, he's definitely 78 now at this point. A man by the name of David Huggins. Now, David Huggins is one of my favorite UFO topics out there. He's such a wild, like, interesting. Don't spoil, Jesse. Do not spoil yourself on some of these paintings. I want you to. I need your raw reaction of this man's artistry when I start showing them to you.
No, that reaction was me hurting my knuckle for some reason, not me being outraged by erotica. Trust me, I would have been like, look at that. No, ow.
David Huggins, who's now 78, claims that he first encountered aliens at the age of 8 years old, that he lost his virginity to a female extraterrestrial named Crescent when he turned 17.
Named Crescent?
Yes, sir. Crescent. Yes.
She's in the English word crescent?
Yes, exactly. Spelt like crescent. Like a crescent moon or a crescent piece of food from Pillsbury. You know what I mean? The crescent rolls.
Right. Yeah, okay.
Spelled like the English crescent.
Crescent.
All right.
In English words.
In English words.
And letters.
Maybe that's just the way it translates. I couldn't tell you. This is just what I'm telling you what at 17, Crescent took his virginity. All right. He lost his virginity to an alien. He also claims that among his many abductions, because they abduct him often, he has fathered a clan of hybrid alien human babies, and these otherworldly beings have given him permission to paint everything. Before he went off and created these paintings, he did ask for permission, and they did allow him to do so. This man's story, while listening to, came out more in 2011. I believe was the first time this man really kind of came forward and had a big interview about it. But the things that he's done and the things that he's seen are fascinating, because on top of, the lady alien, he's also seen grays. He's also been abducted with mantises around. Mantids have been involved in his scenarios, and he painted them. He eventually went on to write the book Love and Saucers. So I would advise checking it out if you want his own book.
Love and Saucers, man.
And there's also a documentary out there that talks about Huggins' story now that came out in 2018, which is a kind of portrait of this man on we'll call it it's a less scientific view, and more of an emotional, artistic view on what this man has gone through. You know what I mean? There's not a whole lot of trying to debunk going on. He's made about 150 paintings in total. All of them take up a ton of his time. This is basically what he does full time at this point. And he uses it as a way to introduce the various aliens that he's encountered through his life to other people. From the praying mantids, insect beings, to the big-eyed grays, and to the little hairy guys with glowing eyes. The paintings are almost like film steals, he calls them. A quote, after watching so many movies, he thinks of them cinematically, a filmmaker said. Maybe not even consciously, but each of his paintings is like a little scene from a movie that you can imagine playing out. And now I'm going to send you the very first picture.
I'm so excited.
This is one of his paintings, not his first painting, but one of his paintings. And this is of Crescent, the woman he lost his virginity to, that he had seen many times. And you may describe, I mean, it's pretty straightforward what you're about to see. There you are.
No.
And that's David Higgins right by that photo.
He's like, fuck yeah, this is exactly what Crescent looked like. Yep.
All right. Crescent is just a woman with an alien mask on. Like an absolute, just a human woman, and then for some reason an alien mask, and then long hair.
Very, very muscular, and has his cup in her tits.
Yeah, she's like,
way.
How you like these things?
Yeah.
But it's not even like a sexual cup. It's kind of like more like, I got these two right here.
This guy, I want to be honest, this guy looks like he went through like a long phase of people making fun of him for him saying that he had sex with an alien. And then they were like, what did it look like? And he was like, this.
Yeah, I mean, literally, yeah. He was just like,
he's like, yeah, look at, like, yeah, she looks like a regular human woman. What were you expecting?
Like, the description of this is a, like, naked, full, like, white-ass flesh human woman, but then her neck goes up into an alien head,
like
but that alien head has long black hair.
Yeah, with, like, a widow's peak.
Yeah.
Like a wide widow, we call that. Well, I'd call that.
Well, it's funny you bring up the hair, because David does go on to say through his interviews and stuff that the hair is always a wig. And he
what?
That it's wearing a wig. Yeah. And actually, one of the interviews, they ask him, like, hey, you talk about the hair on these female hybrids as being a wig. What is it about the hair that seems so weird? And he says, it's very unkempt. I remember one time one of the females was walking past me and the hair was not on right. She took it off and I was taken aback by that. And so I said, quote, should I shave my head, to let her know I was okay with it? So, like, yeah, it's this weird.
He's open to the whole thing. He's like, look, you want me to shave my head too? It's fine.
My question is,
we have bald people on Earth.
My thing about this is, we know about evolution. We all can agree. Pretty, like, if you like this type of UFO lore, it's kind of predicated on the concept of evolution in a way.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So we're all agreed. So what planet can you be from that you evolve exactly the body of a human? Like a hairless ape body with like a working vagina, allegedly, that you can breed with. Sire children out of. That's like compatibility. You know what I mean?
I mean, yeah, it's
like
a good
ligers
question.
Don't make it usually. You know what I mean? Like you know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean,
like you gotta be in. You gotta be close for it to work, right? So
yeah,
planet? So what planet are you on where you have that body and then you get like Gleep Glorp's head? Like, what is the environment like?
I don't know, man. Maybe they're future humans. You know what I mean?
Is it exactly like Earth, 5 feet up off the ground, and then above that, it's fucking insane?
I don't know,
Alex,
man. I sent you another picture.
You got to look at this second photo. Holy shit.
So this is one of the scenarios where he's being abducted while he's in bed, where there's the taller woman-like alien. You know what? Fuck it. You guys explain.
The best way to describe this is, it's an over-the-shoulder, like you're playing like a Resident Evil game. It's like over-the-shoulder, laying in bed, and then coming in a circle, like a circle, either a window or just a beam of light.
It's a light. It's a light. It's supposed to be a light.
Yeah.
Is this woman with the fake hair and a robe on,
Flanked-
and next to
flanked by
her
two-
are like two goons.
two Michael Myers from Halloween, but instead of
Like little kids dressed as Mike Myers.
two little mini Mike Myers, like the other like what you know how mini me is like a mini Michael Myers because he's Dr. Evil. This is like a mini Mike Myers from Halloween.
But there's two of them.
Yeah.
And then directly in the corner is like E.T. looking at this all go down.
You know what it is? It's exactly the fucking alien from Star Wars in the canteen.
Oh yes, the guy's like,
it's like
lifts his head
there's
up.
like
Yes.
a scene. There's like one shot in that cantina scene, and
What are they? Ithorians, whatever they're called for my Star
No,
Wars nerds.
this is a different alien. This is not one of the famous ones. This is like a bug. That is his face. It looks like that.
Oh yes, yeah.
He's like not
This-
one of the famous ones, but he's in there.
It is like the start of a really weird porn.
Yeah,
Like there is a creepy dude in the corner watching the whole thing,
Or
and
like-
like two little guys who are definitely gonna help. They're gonna help.
I'm gonna give you. Well, if I can find this one painting I'm looking for specifically.
it could be a Chili Peppers vid.
No, they don't have socks on their dong, unfortunately.
So I'm giving you another. I gave you another image of of an implant. He receives implants, so it goes up his nose. You're seeing the woman alien with the wig
Whoa.
tilting his head back, and it's blood coming out of his nose as like he paints it. And he says he doesn't fully remember a lot of images or a lot of these moments until he's painting one that he already remembered. And usually the paintings will trigger another memory that he has of these beings. And this is the last one I'm going to show you.
It's just so weird because even in this one so the one that you're showing us right now,
This is the image of him losing his virginity in the woods with Crescent.
there's the image of the up the nose thing.
Yeah.
There where again it is Crescent with the black wig and like I guess friend, some guy holding
Little
him.
gray man. Yeah, yeah.
And they're both wearing like very royal blue robes. And what's even crazier is in this image, like he makes no mistake about it, the dude behind her is like a gray with gray skin all over. But she, again, has some like just white dude skin and then an alien face. It's very bizarre.
It is very strange.
First of all, I also got to talk about the fact that this alien behind him is like framed like his own inner demons are like it's just over his shoulder.
Yeah.
But the other thing is like, what if the whole human-like face situation is a costume? Like, what if they just don't look right to us, and so they have to have these like weird human faces on?
Yeah. That could check. I mean, that'd be super fun if they were just like so awful to us, like cosmic horror vibes.
Yeah.
That they wore alien masks because that's the closest they could get to like this is human.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's one more picture I want to give you because it'll matter.
Also, we skipped over the fact that the second picture you showed us is literally this girl riding the shit out of this man in the middle of the forest.
That's the image
just
that he painted.
grinding his junk.
That's him at 17 years old losing his virginity in the woods to Celeste.
No, Crescent.
So, what?
Here's the thing. I don't know how he remembers it, but
Crescent. Sorry. I don't know why I said Celeste.
I don't know how he remembers this, but he looks like he is like, yeah.
She looks like
and
she
the last
fucked him
image
so
I'm gonna
hard she
give
broke
you-
his arm in half is what it looks like.
Yes, it really does.
You know what?
It
You know
really
what
does.
King Kong did to the dinosaur's mouth when he ripped it backwards like that? That's what she did to his elbow, bro.
Yep.
The last image I'm giving you is him next to a really tall, strange, what he calls like a man alien type thing. He doesn't know what race it belongs to or species it belongs to. You can just see it looks like it's like a tube coming out of the top of its head. He's looking at Earth from where he's at. But this took place when he was a child, this one.
He just has a snorkel coming out the top of his head.
Yeah, it looks like at the back of his head, he has like a snorkel coming out the back of it. It's very bizarre.
That's the guy from the Trade Federation, yo.
And he has encountered all of these aliens, all kind of working together as part of the same group since he was very, very little. And he talks about, again, what triggers the memories, which is him usually painting. But when it all started, and this is the part to note is like, okay, are we dealing with somebody who he says he still kind of comes in contact with aliens to this day at 70 whatever years old. But here's how it started, and it makes you wonder, is this part trauma that the brain is covering up? in a weird, bizarre way. He says, as a kid, I would see one of these beings and I would run to the house to my mom and dad and say, hey, mom and dad, there's something out at the barn and something behind the house. And they would say, quit making up things. There is nothing out there. And one time I did it and it was too much. And my parents gave me a good whipping. The next day, I remember the next day I went behind the house and there was the woman, Crescent, with a few grays and one insect being. And I remember telling the woman, my mama and daddy don't believe me that I see you and I got a whipping. As soon as I said that, I knew Crescent didn't like that. She looked at me and said, then don't tell them. After that, I never said a word. So, you know, there's a lot in that scenario that could be childhood trauma, abuse maybe happening with somebody, that a stranger or what have you, and the parents just don't believe. Who knows? But he does say they continued to stay in contact with them all the way up until today. He even says that these beings have helped him in a lot of ways, saving his life a couple of times. There was an incident with a snake under the tool shed, and there was another incident where he nearly drowned, and he's looking at this person while I'm drowning, and I hear this voice, let me live. And just as they say that, my toe catches hold of a root, and I'm able to pull myself to shore. He says that the aliens and were the ones that made that happen. They say, he continues to say that the grays, there are the grays, then there's Crescent, then there's the guy, very tall and angular, which is the picture of the man with the snorkel coming out of the back of his head, which he says is actually a bun. And he has red eyes and communicates with the insect beings, the mantids that also travel along with them. And he at the time of this like article coming out, he was in contact with them as recently as a month ago. He says he doesn't feel violated. It was always up to him. There was a hairy little guy one time that came to his room and asked, David, can we use your body? And he simply said, yes, you can use it as much as you like. He seemed very happy with his response and left the room and kind of vanished. So the aliens came and asked for permission if they could use his body. And the man is just totally, he's like in. He's down. 100% in. Yeah, and he says it's completely
he's a real
free
Mathis
will.
about it. Yeah.
This is what I'm saying. This is my ideal scenario right here. Yeah. I would swap places with this man if this is actually happening.
Maybe you got to get painting. Maybe you got to start painting, man.
And yeah, remember I said that this guy, maybe that's what I need to do. This guy said he had like a whole flock of children. Well, at one point, somebody actually asked him, like, how many do you have? And he says, well, one of the scenarios where he was taken into a room and it was filled with babies. And I had to touch every single one. The human touch was really important. The first time I touched one of the babies, static electricity jumped from my hand to the baby. This was right before I touched it, and I pulled back and said to the insect being who had brought them, wow, did you see that? So I reached over and touched the baby. I woke up the next morning spent, totally exhausted, and slept all day. But that night, the insect-like being takes me to this door. We're in front of this doorway, and there's this brilliant light. It was like it was pushing its way out of the doorway. It had form. The insect-like being said I had to go inside the room with light. So I go inside and it was just incredible. The light was passing right through me. I was there for a few minutes. And the next morning when I woke up, I had incredible energy and really felt energized for weeks afterwards. So they like took him up and made him zap a bunch of his children. And he was so tired that the insectoid's like, let's recharge you, bro. And brought him to like a recharge light. And he felt really, really good for it. When asked like, well, what are your offspring being used for? He simply said, I have no idea.
I wouldn't get too emotionally attached to the concept of those children if I had them in the scenario that he had them.
Yeah. Well, I guess. Yeah. Like, I wonder, like, so what's interesting about that particular note where he's being brought in to touch all these different kids, a lot of other abductees, the only ones I can think of really are the women abductees, where they are taking eggs from them and they're being used for hybrid programs. They are brought back every so often to interact with their child, to, you know, feed them and play with them and do all of these things. And they aren't told why, only that it's very important. The Greys or whoever are like, it's very important you interact with them. And they believe it's like, has to do with emotion, something that the Greys don't have, the ability to connect with these things on a level that they need and to help them be closer to human, so that maybe when they're adults, they can kind of slip into our society a little easier, because they typically look a lot more human than they do gray. Jesse, do you have I watched you go from inquisitive to pacified and all through that.
It's an interesting little tidbit for the lore of this mythos that for some reason the Star Children must have some connection to their human side, but it's not like the history of humanity or like the connect.
It's biological.
It's like, oh yeah. It's like you hug them. All right, good. You hug them once, moving on, which is like a weird thing.
Or it's the only time he can remember, because a lot of their memories are usually fucking wiped and they don't remember that.
But even then, it's like, you know, we want them to have emotions, which we don't have. And by doing so, you're going to hug them, but also you're going to leave them. Like we're going to make you hug them and then leave them for like 20 years. And then you hug them again once. And now they're going to leave. It's like a very strange, like, addition to the story.
Yeah, it is very, very weird. Beyond the artistic works that Huggins has created, obviously in what his interviews, we don't know much more. However, you might be left with the question, what does an alien vagina feel like? And luckily, David Huggins can let you know. He says all he can really say is that there was much warmth. You got to remember, your senses are subdued when you're with them.
I don't like this.
The intense orgasm you would normally feel is toned down. And so he goes on to say that they actually sedate you. They sedate you for this whole experience because they don't want you flipping out. And when asked if this alien had a menstrual cycle, he said he didn't know. And that's kind of like the story of David Huggins. Not a full episode's worth, but there's David Huggins. He's banging some weird crescent alien.
Sounds like some bags of sand type stuff, though.
Yes.
Like,
but I don't get that
it's
reference.
from the movie 40-Year-Old Virgin, where he's pretending like he's touched
I have seen
boobs
that.
at
Okay.
a card game.
Yes. Okay. Now I know you're talking.
Yeah.
That's
So
right. That's right. Yeah.
like
yeah.
he's like, yo, like it's weird. Like I know it's really warm down there, but they do this thing where they like make you not be able to notice how it is down there for real. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's very weird. I don't know, man. It's bizarre. And the next two that we're going to talk about are equally as bizarre. This next one's going to be a little quicker. Are you sick of me talking about HelloFresh yet? Because if not, I mean, even if you are, I'm gonna talk about it. Mostly because I keep using it and I've been using it for over a year, 3 times a week, but also because they're offering you guys a hell of a freaking deal. And if you don't know what HelloFresh is, quite simply, it's the best way to get farm fresh, pre-portioned ingredients and seasonal recipes delivered directly to your doorstep, where you can skip trips to the grocery store and count on them to make a home cooking easy, fun and affordable. I don't know why I became Italiano there. Anyway, that's why it's America's #1 meal kit, by the way. And it's kind of crazy that September is not only here, but we're a week into September already, and fall time is upon us. And it's the perfect time to cozy up with some delicious sweets. Get the whole family involved with HelloFresh's limited edition kid-friendly baking kits. HelloFresh isn't just for dinner. You can shop HelloFresh Market for quick breakfasts, wholesome snacks, and even desserts. You'll find everything you need to satisfy your cravings without stepping foot in the grocery store or mini mart, which is just my favorite part of this whole thing. There's always something new on the menu, from family-friendly to fit and wholesome and even veggie recipes. There's something to please everyone. I don't know if I have a favorite recipe because it changes all the time, but I will say every burger recipe I've gotten from them, I've always walked away from going, wow, that was really freaking good. The caramelized onion burger was the one I just recently had for like the 3rd time. I really enjoyed it. If you want to check out like a nice, easy burger recipe, they have a bunch of them there. And if you sound like you want to try this, just go over to HelloFresh.com/chill16 and use our code chill16 for 16 free meals across 7 boxes and 3 free gifts. That's HelloFresh.com/chill16 with code chill16 for 16 free meals across 7 boxes and 3 free gifts. Thanks again to HelloFresh for sponsoring the episode, America's #1 meal kit. There's another man who was abducted for similar reasons back in the 50s by the name of Antonio Vilas Bonas. Now, Antonio Vilas Bonas was, we'll just call him Antonio at this point, a 23-year-old Brazilian farmer who worked just kind of at night to avoid hot days. And in October of 1957, as he was working his field out in São Francisco de Sales, he saw what he would describe as a red star in the night sky. According to his story, this star approached his position, growing in size until it became recognizable as a roughly circular or egg-shaped aerial craft with a red light at its front and a rotating cupola on the top. And if you don't know what a cupola is, it's like, you know, the classic like Roswell UFO, where it has like a top hat on top of the UFO.
Okay.
It's like that, and it rotates across it. The craft then began to descend into his field, extending 3 landing legs as it did so, which at that point, Boas decided to run from the scene. He took off. According to Boas, he first attempted to leave the scene on his tractor, but when its lights and engine died, after traveling only a short distance, he got out and ran on foot. However, he was seized by about a 5-foot-tall humanoid who was wearing gray coveralls and a helmet. Its eyes were small and blue, and instead of speech, it made noises like barks or yelps. So this 5-foot-tall, blue-eyed humanoid was like as he was grabbing him out of his field. Then 3 similar beings joined in and began subduing Boas violently, dragging him back to their craft as he was trying to get away. So he's got these 4 aliens dragging him back. Once he was inside their craft, Boas said that he was stripped of his clothes, covered head to toe in a weird gel, and then was led into a strange semicircular room through a doorway that had weird red symbols written all over it. He said he claimed that he was able to memorize these symbols and did reproduce them for investigators. In this room.
What is he playing, an escape room?
I know, right? It's here in this room where the beings began taking samples of his blood from his chin. After this, he was taken to a 3rd room and left alone for around half an hour.
Chin?
Yeah, they got blood from his chin for some reason.
Chin.
Yeah, weird.
There was something
when
about
he was
that
taking
in one of the stories that I told one time, that like somewhere in your face is like your central like CPU type stuff. I don't know.
The chin is such like a terrible place to get blood.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense, like many of these scenarios.
The
chin. After they took blood from his chin, they took him to another 3rd room and was left alone for about 30 minutes, where during this time, the room was pumped with a weird gas, which made Boas violently vomiting the whole time. They just gassed the shit out of him with something. But after that gassing stopped, the door opened and Boas was claimed by another humanoid. This one, however, was very obviously female, very attractive, and ass naked. She was about the same height as the other beings, so about 5 feet, with a small pointed chin, large blue cat-like eyes,
and the
hair on her
bloodhound dog.
And the hair on her head was long and white, and he kind of calls it like a platinum blonde, but her underarm and pubic hair were bright red. So the hair either maybe
like
was
red, like Ronald McDonald, or like ginger.
He says
hair.
Bright red, and so I would imagine like a bright ginger red. Like I would imagine
like a
kind of
natural
like
color.
That. Yeah, that's what I'm imagining. Whatever that smoke did to him, he said at that point he was insanely horny and insanely attracted to this woman, and they fucked during this whole time. He notes that the female did not kiss him, but instead would nip him on the chin. Again, another weird chin thing. They took blood from his chin, and now as they're banging, she's like biting at his chin, which is bizarre. And when it was all done, the female simply smiled. They didn't speak. She didn't say a single word. After he was good and empty, she got up, smiled, rubbed her belly while gesturing to her stomach and gesturing upward toward the sky.
Anyway, I'm hungry, so I'm going to go back to my apartment.
Yeah. Boas said he kind of like took this to mean that she was gonna go have their baby and raise it in space. The female seemed relieved at that. Yeah, I don't know. Because, okay, dude, imagine this weird like alien girl, doesn't say a word, rides the hell out of you, just like drains you, gets up and like rubs her belly and points to the sky, and then just leaves. How would you take that? What would you imagine that was like? Like,
I would think
I don't know how you would
dreaming.
take that.
I would think I was asleep. I would think I was not conscious.
Okay, but then you realize you're not.
How
all right, this is happening to you. What would your reaction be?
I'd probably start crying.
Fair point. I would be so excited. Jesse is lost.
It's so crazy to me that she was like, good and filled up. See you later. Peace. Like just wild. That's the little story editions. Again, everything kind of falls back on Alex's 40-year-old virgin hypothesis. Like a lot of just like, and then once we had done it, she said, I am pregnant and moved on. And I'm like, what?
Oh, God. Boas did say, he did go on to say that the female being seemed relieved after the task was over. And Boas himself said he felt angered afterward. Like after he was done, he was pissed off because he felt as though he had been little more than a good stallion, quote unquote, for these beings. He was like, they used me.
He was offended because it wasn't.
Yeah, he was offended because he got used. And I'm like, bro, that's aliens. Just fuck the hell out of you.
The emotions that I would be feeling would be so far away from like anything grounded in reality. I would be like doubting my sanity. I would be so far beyond like they used me. I don't know. But that's what he was just like, I've been used, offended. I don't know how I would feel. I'd probably feel scared, but also excited. You know what I mean? Like it happened. Finally. I would be shattered. I would be like a different human being. My entire perception of reality would be destroyed.
I love that he considered himself like a good stallion for the human species. But moving forward from that, he realized how crazy his story would probably feel. And so when he got his clothes back and he would actually, which happens a lot with abductees, he was taken on a tour of the ship by these weird little 5-foot tall humanoids. And Boas, like I think something Jesse would do, attempted to snag what looked like a clock-like device as proof of his encounter. But as he was on his way out, he was caught by them and they prevented him from taking it. And he was then escorted off the ship and watched as it took off, glowing bright red. And when he returned home, he discovered that 4 hours had passed. Later on, it never happened again. He would eventually go on to become a lawyer, married, had 4 children, and died in January 17th of 1991, and would stick to his story till the very last day, never giving, like, saying it was a hoax and whatnot. Very weird. Very, very weird.
That is fucking nuts.
As far as physical evidence, there was an investigation. He claimed that he suffered from nausea and weakness, as well as headaches and lesions on the skin, which appeared without any kind of light bruising. Eventually, he contacted a journalist who had an ad placed in the newspaper looking for people who had experience with UFOs, and that's kind of how his story came out. Is that people were looking for UFO stories in the newspaper, and it's weird because among his symptoms were pains throughout the body, all the stuff that I said to you before. And there was small reddish nodules, harder than the skin around them and protuberant, painful when touched, each with a small central orifice yielding a yellowish skin, waterish discharge. The skin surrounding the wounds presented a, quote, a hypochromatic violet tinged area. So we did have like a kind of like Barney with his like issues afterward. He got sick. He had weird things appear on his skin. But he never saw them again other than that one time that they yanked him up and bred him like a prize stallion. So we've only got one more to go through, and it's going to be another love story. This one is with a woman by the name of Elizabeth Clare, who you may have actually heard this story before if you're in the UFO world. It's very, very bizarre. The story itself is extremely bizarre. And there is, we'll just go through it. Much like Huggins, Elizabeth Clare's story involves having sex with an alien. But unlike the Huggins, it wasn't, and much like Huggins, it was a very intimate encounter and multi-part encounter. For Clare, she was born in 1910 to a wealthy family and grew up fascinated by apparently Zulu folklore that were told to her by her family's native African workers. So, nice layer of racism over her childhood, growing up in a time where people were using other people as native quote unquote workers, aka probably in slavery of some sort or indentured servitude. However, in the mid 1950s, Clare spotted more UFOs and reported that she was suddenly in telepathic contact with an alien pilot by the name of Akon. And no, not the artist. Akon and his co-pilot, both of whom were astrophysicists, eventually let Clare board their spaceship. They told her that they came from the planet of Meton, M-E-T-O-N, a planet in the galaxy of Alpha Centauri. Clare became friends with these aliens and they continued making regular visits with her over the years. After a time, Clare felt a great attraction toward Captain Akon, and doubtlessly unable to resist the opportunity of kinky intergalactic space sex with an attractive extraterrestrial species, took him as a lover and became pregnant. Akon then took her to live on Meton, where she gave birth to a hybrid son. The couple named him Ailing. Now, you might be wondering, what does Aylon look like?
Okay, I thought you said they named him Alien.
No, Ailing, Ayling.
Aylin.
I thought you said Elon.
No, also hilarious. Maybe we've stumbled across it. Here's a picture of Akon, the captain that she fell in love with.
If it's just Kirk, I'm gonna lose my damn mind.
Zap Brannigan?
I mean, it is pretty close to Zap Brannigan.
Zap Brannigan,
Very
dude.
Zap Brannigan. Whoa.
He's got the Star of David?
Yes, which is very strange. Again, a reminder that alien things can quickly devolve into anti-Semitism if you're not careful and move into the weird world of cult stuff. Here is a picture that she also took of this supposed UFO.
A picture?
Yeah,
from
picture
above?
of a UFO taken by Clare in 1955. I know.
I know there's gonna be someone out there who's like, Jesse, stop poo-pooing on everything Mathis says, but this sucks. This photo's ass. This photo is like someone digitally put in. It's not even like a good
This is
digital
from 1955,
image.
Jesse.
Yeah, no, it definitely looks fake.
It just looks like it's from above, which is weird.
So again, she is abducted, in contact with these guys, falls in love with Akon, and Akon eventually falls in love with her. They have sex, she gets pregnant, and instead of living out the pregnancy on Earth and going through it on Earth, she is taken to Meton and has the child there, who they name Ailing. According to Clare, Meton was a utopia free of crime, greed, and poverty. The inhabitants of Meton looked just like humans, but they were kinder, taller, and much better looking. Metonians could live for thousands of years and were even able to reincarnate after they died. They dressed in this beautiful silk clothing and ate only natural food. They didn't care for sports, but loved art and music. They never married or divorced and had large families. And the Metonians adored children and were fond of keeping pet birds, in case you were curious. There was no need for schools or books because communication and learning were all done through telepathy. Technology and spirituality, the Metonians were thousands of years ahead of Earthlings. As much as she liked Meton, Clare had difficulty living there because of the atmosphere, so she went back to Earth after 4 months. Yes, she got pregnant, had the baby, and left all within 4 months.
How detailed is this account?
It's pretty detailed. There's a book you can read called Beyond the Light Barrier. It's the autobiography of this woman. It is, according to the cover, a romance story of it's so tiny, it's so hard to see, encounter between a South African woman and a man from Meton, a planet of something.
I hope that a large portion of that book takes place on Meton, because I would love to know what that's like.
Yeah.
In great detail.
It's a weird situation, obviously, because after that, she continues to say that she is in contact with Akon. However, and she sees her child occasionally, but for the most part, she doesn't go back. Dude. I know, and Ailing as their child. Keep that in mind. It's her story is fucking weird. It's just because the big problem with her story is that there are no other encounters like this among many other abductees.
The problem with their encounter is that there is no name in the English language closer to alien than whatever the fuck she named her kid.
Ailing. Yeah, she occasionally receives visits from her space, hookup and her son, the latter of whom followed in his father's cosmic footsteps and became an astrophysicist on Meton as well.
Star-Lord.
So this book, exactly, our very own Star-Lord. So you can actually go ahead and her book is out there. It's called Beyond the Light Barrier. It was published in 1980. And there were only some family members only some of her family members were backing her story. And there were no documentation of her alleged pregnancy whatsoever. She has no evidence physically that she was ever pregnant, but she insisted that it was all true up until she died in 1994. It's a very, very, and again, that's just a kind of a very strange sexual encounter that this one had a more romance kind of tinge to it, but at the same time, it's, you know, it's hard. She tried to publish a book. She did publish rather a book on it in the 80s. It's weird, man. It's another weird one.
I Googled just now. It's now in my search history forever.
Of course.
Would a woman's gestation change if she was pregnant by something else? That's what I wrote.
By
I don't know what I was
something
thinking.
else.
By something else.
I don't know what it obviously didn't give me the answers, but it did give me a lot of what other people have looked up, which is very disturbing. But still, the question remains, is 4 months like the average? Like it's an alien baby and then
Does it
baby
speed up?
and like wouldn't it still be 9 months? I don't know. I don't know the rules.
Ask the fucking Ligers,
good
dude.
question.
I got no idea.
And to
Go ask the Ligers, bro.
Now that's in my
Go
search
ask the
history,
Ligers.
Mathis.
You're
It's
welcome.
something
Congratulations,
else.
Jesse. Welcome to my fucking internet history. Just so you all know, her very first encounter with Akon in 1956 happened right at the very top of Flying Saucer Hill. And he came down, scooped her up, and they fell in love.
Is that her name for the hill, or is that a real?
No, it's an actual hill. It's an actual
and it was
hill.
already called that?
It was already called it at
Okay,
that point,
all right.
yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Boys, I hope that helps give you a taste of some of the varying different types of abduction scenarios that can occur. More grays and how involved they are, even with other
It
species.
was like the first
and
act of like Harvest Moon space version. Like, it's fucking weird.
Yeah, you know, and it can prove to you just how sexy these things can get, and maybe
The aliens
you know,
themselves? Is that what? That's what you were trying to prove
encounters,
today?
you know?
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, the encounters is what I'm trying to prove. The encounters can get really hot.
Okay.
And
all right.
The thing is, they can get real sexy, and it's normal to be attracted.
yes, exactly.
I
Thank you-
need to
thank
say
you,
this now
Alex.
because this is going to be my definitive. So I've now looked up gestation periods of all sorts of things.
Is that what you Googled?
Yes, that's what I just Googled. But I swear to God, Alex is right on the money. The thing to look up was Liger. I'm not saying that she's full of shit, but lion's
full of
gestation
something.
period.
Something else.
Lion gestation period around 110 days. A tiger gestation period between 93 and 112 days. And a liger gestation period around 100 days. So all I'm saying is, unless there's some magic, space magic here, 4
dare
months
you.
would still not be long enough for a human body to
you say-
generate a child.
Did you say there is when he said unless there's space magic?
Unless there's space
No, I
magic.
said, how dare you?
I thought you said
Unless there's
there
space
is.
magic, there isn't.
There is, brother.
Well, I mean, hey, space and time is all one thing, and if they're moving through, you know, the universe in a weird, you know, maybe time doesn't work.
Mathis, did you say there is space magic? Is that what?
No, I did not say
all
that.
I know
did
is
not
that when
say
the
that.
world exploded, Superman was able to fly around it backwards
Yeah.
and reverse time a little bit.
I mean, maybe time is different. Maybe it's like one of those wormhole, black hole situations.
Exactly.
Yeah, could
Maybe.
be like Interstellar, right?
Yeah, maybe they were faster than us.
Maybe their pregnancy is only like a month. So combined with the human, 9 months, right down the middle, you know?
I don't think that's how that works at all.
Hashtag Alex's big smile.
We're off to go do a mini-sode. That's it. It's done. I'm hoping this little extra alien episode helps save the weird alien stories that the two of you and all of the listeners have been hoping to hear after our first episode covering those 12 alien race theory.
I feel good about it. And you know,
Yeah, how about you, Jesse? Do you feel better too?
I am happier we spent more time with this. Yes.
Okay, good.
Do I feel
Good,
better
good,
about any of it? Not really, but I'm happy we spent time with it.
All right, we're off to patreon.com/ChilluminatiPod to do a mini-sode. Thank you guys so much for all your support. We love ya, and we'll see you next week. Also, go buy live tickets, Chilluminatipod.com.
Anyway,
bye.
me and my wife were sitting outside indulging on our porch one night, enjoying ourselves. I needed to go to the bathroom, so I stepped back inside, and after a few moments, I hear my wife go, "Holy shit, get out here." So I quickly dash back outside, and she's looking up at the sky in awe. I look up too, and there's a perfect line of dozen lights traveling across the sky.